What up? What up? What up? Yeah, one of these days I need you to do the intro.
What up? What up? What up?
Yeah. Whack intro.
What up?
What's going on, everyone?
Hey, son.
We're gonna give you guys an intro on like the last freaking episodes we've been doing without introducing ourselves.
How you doing?
What's going on? I'm
What's going on?
the greater
Shadeezy?
half of Paging the Simpsons. I'm joined by the love of my adult life.
Wow. Wow. The shade. Why couldn't you say whole life?
Of adult life. What's your name again?
I am appalled. That's my name.
What's your, appalled? Appalled is here in the building, everybody.
It's Lauren, and you stink.
Damn, I thought I showered recently. I thought it smelled good.
Nope.
So what's going on, everyone? So this episode, I know we talked about this with our relationship advice we did in a past episode about like how do you deal with, you know, your partner being introverted and you being extroverted. And I wanted to kind of touch on this a bit more, and I found an article in Bustle that I wanted to get on. It has 9 points that we're just going to talk about more in detail, because if you guys don't know, if you're not familiar, I'm the introverted one. She's more of the extroverted. I guess you wouldn't consider yourself like fully
I'm in the middle.
extroverted.
I'm like in the middle of
Yeah.
the spectrum.
So, I just want to get into this because this, I feel like, was a point of an issue in our relationship, and of course, as we've been in this longer, we've grown and adapted, and you know, all that stuff.
It was something to figure out, how do the opposites attract kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go into these points with you, and we're just gonna talk about like our experience. I thought it'd just be interesting just to go through it.
So what? It's an article specifically about introverts and extroverts?
Yeah.
Okay.
The article, like the headline is "How to Date an Introvert When You Are an Extrovert," according to experts.
Okay.
So I want to just touch on it because I like their points and I feel like it related to us. So we're gonna get into this here.
Okay.
So the first one is be supportive.
I feel like that's any relationship.
Well, of course. They say this more so because if you're an extrovert, you're a full-on people person whose energy, like you get more energy of being around others, versus like me, I don't want to be really around people. So it's like just having that balance. And like one instance of this was we went to an event last month or the month before, whatever, and it's like I only went there to support you because you wanted me to go.
What event?
The barbecue thing.
Oh, okay. So it was a networking meeting.
It wasn't a meeting. It was literally come here, eat food.
Not a meeting, but one of the networking meetings I'm a part of has like monthly-ish little like almost like a cocktail hour, like, you know, like kind of like after work, happy hour kind of things. That's what they are. Just to kind of let loose, get together, not be so businessy, that kind of thing. So, I brought him to one of those. I'll bring him to those every so often.
Yeah, and so I went there, like, it wasn't the fact that I cared to go, because I would much rather like to be at home.
Well, yeah, and plus he's not close to these people. Like, I'm close to these people to an extent because I see them every week.
So this is why, but this is why, like, be supportive is important.
Right.
So I went there to support you because you wanted me to go.
Right.
And what I appreciated, which I believe I said, was the fact that, like, yeah, you weren't pushy when I was just sitting down, like, literally on my phone reading articles.
And it was interesting because, like, it's very interesting because it was obvious. Like, people saw him just kind of sitting there, like, being by himself. And I know you even said, like, some people would kind of try and come up to you and talk to you because, like, most times when you see someone alone, you don't want them to feel alone, like, if they're out in public, like, at something like that. So, so he's at least good with handling that stuff. Like, he doesn't, like, get mad or shun the people away. Like, so he's good with that. But then I was, like, talking to people, and there was, like, this girl, and she even said to me, she's like, oh yeah, he's over there like alone or something. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, these like events, they aren't his thing. Like, he's, you know, more of an introvert, whatever. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, whatever. Like it wasn't like a problem. Like, people weren't like mad at him for doing that. And it was more so like a thing that, you know, so we went for like really good food and, you know, we ate together and like chatted. We chatted up our like photographer who's doing our wedding, and she's in the group and stuff. Like, so we had like some time, and then it was kind of like, yeah, we separated, and but I was just on my phone,
reading articles, just chilling, like. And I was fine with that. And of course, yeah, people would come up occasionally and we'd have a conversation. Like, like if someone wants to talk to me, I'm not going to not talk to you.
And some people there did know you.
Yeah, some people know me because, I've may have used them before for some service or whatever. Right. Or, you just see me. Like, I've been to these things a couple times.
And it's funny because I feel like they think they know you better because, like, of me. And because of social media.
Yeah, because you post so I don't post anything.
Yeah, it's one of those where, like, you seem more familiar even though, like, you hadn't really had many conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to say that, like, yeah, it's totally important to be supportive of each other, but knowing each other's boundaries where it's like, I'm not a social person. So you're not going to see me sitting here having small talk with everyone because that's not me.
You also are not antisocial with people you're close with, because like when we have double dates and stuff with various friends, I feel like yeah, sure, you're not like me, like you're not like as talkative or as outgoing or whatever, but you're also not like a shell. Like you get into it and you have fun, you laugh, you talk about various life things or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's with multiple, like we've had different dynamic kind of people over, and you're still like cool.
Yeah, I'm still gonna talk and whatever. Like I know, like there was a girl that I used to work with, and like she was saying how her boyfriend at the time, now husband, was like he doesn't like going to like any social thing. Like that's not him. He doesn't like talking to new people. He doesn't like. And in my head, I'm just like, how do you live?
Yeah.
How do you like? You can't stay in hiding.
Experience life.
You can't stay in hiding and not talk to people.
Like, yeah, ever.
But I'm like, if that's who your husband is, I guess that's what you're fine with. It's just that kind of seems extreme to me to not go out anywhere.
Right. That's one end of the spectrum. It's kind of like how with you, like dancing is something that we have to like compromise on when we've been to like various weddings and holiday parties and things like that. You kind of adjust, sort of. You sort of adjust how much you dance by who we're around. So like whose wedding it was or who like that kind of thing. Because like, for example, like the holiday party we went to last year, you did Zippo. Because that was the same networking group that you're just not comfortable around these people. Yeah. So I was over there dancing with my girlfriends and like, and whatever.
It was cool for me to sit down and just, some people would come up again and talk. And,
And so... And then, but like different weddings, and that's where it's funny, because I've told you, our wedding, that's the one, man, we are going to be on that floor as much as possible.
So I've been like thinking about that over the last few months, and I'm like, I feel like I would just be there just having fun, because like, all my friends and family are around.
You want to dance with them too. It's not just me now. You want to actually like enjoy it and party.
I can see that happening, especially me getting like loaded on these drinks and just having a good time.
Not too loaded.
Yo, the groom is getting lit. No? Okay, forget that.
Help me. But the groom who barely drinks now all of a sudden wants to get plastered on his wedding day.
I barely drink, but I am all down for drinking and having those like
please
really
don't overdo it on our wedding day.
Oh man, and wake up the next morning and just throw up like I did
that time I had a wedding and was oblivious. Oh my god,
that was great.
New Year's Eve, what was it, 2017?
I think so.
Yes, New Year's Eve, I had a wedding in New York, so I was up super early and he had went out drinking with his friends the night before, so December 30th. He got in late. I was already sleeping. Got out before he woke up. But when I woke up in the morning, he reeked of alcohol. I had never smelled like anything like that before. And so I knew something was up. So I came home. I came home from the wedding and he's like, I like threw up twice or whatever. And I feel like awful. And I'm not someone who ever has gotten drunk or has the desire to ever get drunk. I literally will drink like half a glass of something like twice a year. I'm not a drinker. I'll do it socially. Very rare.
What was crazy was we had people coming over like later that night for New Year's. And I was just like, shoot, I hope I could eat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's
man.
interesting. I know you did that the night before New Year's Eve. Very
YOLO.
weird flex, but okay.
Oh, man.
But the other side of that is then you have to be supportive too of me, like where.
Wow.
Or no, wait, hold on. No, flip side. I have to be supportive of you. Where, sorry, like we've talked about, like for example, it's like when you get in after work or something, if you need like your time kind of to not, talk right away or whatever, then I kind of give you that space. Even though I'm home and like I want to like talk, I'm like ready. Like I understand after like the commute and an exhausting socializing day of having to work with people all day. I get it. So, yeah.
And like that goes into point number 2, which is, don't judge them. Don't judge me. Because like that was an issue.
Right.
It's not so much now, but that was an issue of me just coming in after a long day. Like I think this past Thursday or Friday, I was like, I got super irritated at work and like I really just needed to breathe because like,
yeah. So I literally like he was super. Yeah, he had like a bad day at work, and I was like cooking dinner and listening to music, and I was just kind of like doing my own thing. Like, it's very interesting because again, this kind of goes back to like how relationships all have different dynamics, and how things can seem actually like weird to other people or like how like it wouldn't work. But like for example, like I literally like ignored him when he came in, and like I feel like other people would be like, okay, like that's kind of rude or like whatever.
Man, that's fine. Like,
but like I knew that's what he needed. Like because even like we were texting back and forth before he left work, and I could tell like it just like something. Work was being a bitch to him or something. So I didn't take it personally, and I just kind of like let him have his time. And then like after a few minutes he came over and he hugged me and like he sighed and talked about work, and so like that's kind of what works. And that's just you, and it's not something towards me. It's not a personal attack. And it's not like you're not wanting to talk to me or like know about my day or whatever. It's just that's kind of your boundary.
So like that's something that like I think I said it on a past episode where it's just like I've done that since I was a kid, where it's like I always had to like, I feel like it could be partially my mom instilling
we
that
talked
into
about
me.
this. How like we had the opposite.
Like when I got in from school, like it would always be just me like going into my room, changing out, because I went to a private school for a brief moment before I went to high school. So I had to change out of my
brief moment.
8
years is a brief moment.
But like I had to change out of my uniform and put in your house clothes, get something to eat, and like just changing like transitioning. Just that whole transition. Like I needed that to like decompress and like chill, and then like once I was good, like my mom knew, like I'd go and talk to her and whatever whatever.
Right.
Like, and that's pretty much what's happened to this day. Like, I carry it out and plan on bringing that to like.
Well, yeah, and it's
kids.
just like how like it kind of goes with how you can authentically be yourself in a relationship too, because it's with the not judging. It's kind of like, don't judge me if I get like overly excited about something. Like I am you and me react very differently whether we are happy or sad. So and I mean that's also an emotional thing too, but it could relate to extrovert introvert, where like I can get like so outwardly excited and like scream and jump up and down and all this kind of thing, and like like as long as you don't like intentionally want to kill that, or like you let me have my moment, then we're good.
And like we've talked about this, and like I'm totally fine. You can jump for joy, you can slam counters, whatever you do, whatever you need to get out to like make sure that you get your excitement
body
out,
slam.
Yo, do that. I have an issue. We've had fights about this before. I have an issue when you want to start pushing. Like, oh, how come you're not feeling more excited about this? Like, I handle things differently. Like, it was an issue when we in the beginning when you used to give gifts, where it's like you give me a gift and I'm like, How come you're not like, excited about it? I'm like, I handle excitement different than you.
Right. And that stemmed again from my family and relationship dynamics that I already knew and was used to. Mm-hmm. And so that was again where we kind of formed our own, like what worked between us. And again, like what we're talking about, how like it kind of opposites attract, but they don't always work seamlessly right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to, you have to put work in any relationship, but I feel like with opposites, people are always like, oh, this could work really beautifully together. But you kind of have to get over a lot of humps first to get to the beautifully working together part, because you're still opposites. Like one person's going to be like, I don't get why you're not doing this. And the other person's going to be like, but that doesn't make any sense. Like it, and so yeah, that used to happen where I would want you to match my excitement.
Yeah.
And because one, that's what I was used to in my personal relationships. And two, that's what you always see too in media and whatever. It kind of, again, it can like
shows.
I've had an issue like growing up where I saw in my household like one kind of relationship, and on media I saw another kind of relationship. They were completely opposite. And so I've had a struggle having to learn what is a realistic relationship and how to make that work and how to make that something that I like, and that I'm not sacrificing stuff that I want, but making sure the stuff I want is real. That it's not, one, that it's not toxic, but two, that it's not fairy tale and like completely unattainable. So that was like a struggle for me. And then what else was I gonna say? Yeah, like this is something I talked to my therapist recently about. I didn't tell you, but like literally how I was telling her how, it's been good, how I've been able to kind of come more into my own. Like I it's been a slow but steady journey the past couple years, but like lately especially, I feel like the last few months, like I'm really like, I'm feeling myself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of being my advocate, and I'm being like supportive of myself, and mentally and physically and all this kind of stuff, and trying to have less negative self-talk and all that. So I told her how I'm like, yeah. And even when I'm really excited about something, like I used the example, I think it was, what was it? I might have booked a wedding. I might have gotten an award, whatever it was, a couple weeks ago. And I remember we were in this office and I got really excited about it. And your way of like affirming that to me and having a moment was like, you like, were like, all right, great job. And you fist bumped me. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Literally, it was just like, great job, fist bump, and that was it. But like, and I told her how I'm like, I didn't let that bring me down.
Yeah,
because in the past,
how you want.
In the past, and honestly, that's what I was taught, and you know this.
Yeah.
That's what I was taught is like, if you don't match my level of excitement,
you're not excited for it.
You're not like cool enough. You're not genuine. You're not.
Yeah.
You're like, and it's a problem, and it's I'm going to make it a problem until you do what I want kind of thing. So that's what I was taught. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, I kind of repeated it for a while. But I'm at this place where, like, I was just still genuinely excited. And even my therapist said, she's like, yeah. She's like, well, that was good because he still, like, he acknowledged and, like, was in the moment with you. So it's not like because that's still important. Like, you're not just kind of...
Yeah, it's important.
You're not, like...
It's a big deal.
Right.
I'm not going to share that same excitement because it's not my accomplishment, but
right.
I see it.
There's that. And then on top of it, it's like, she's like, yeah. She's like, dance around the room, run around the house, do whatever. She's like, yeah, like, that's it.
Whatever you want. Like, I don't...
So...
Just like when I have, like, good news, like what I told you about, like, oh, my boss is, like, looking
right.
at getting, like, a possible promotion down the road.
Right.
I don't expect you to share that same excitement, but I'm going to be super excited about that.
I do, though. I mean, but again, that's my personality. I do get more excited for you.
But I'm not going to be mad or upset if you do or don't, because I get it.
Yeah.
It's not you're not in my shoes. This doesn't, it affects you, of course, but it's just like, this is just my accomplishment.
Right.
And I'm not taking it personally if you don't react.
Right. It doesn't have to rob you of your joy.
Yeah. Which then leads us to respecting, that person's preferences and don't take it personally, which is pretty much
what we just talked about.
What we were just talking about was understanding like what that person needs.
Yeah.
Like like that.
So again, the preferring to be perfect example. Preferring to be alone, but not taking it personally that means that you don't want to be with me.
Yeah.
That's like a perfect example of it. Is like it's not like you're trying to say I don't want to be in a relationship or I don't want to spend any time with you or whatever. I just need this too.
Yeah, like my weekends, because like my week is me spending 10 hours total between my 8 hours of work and hour to and from work.
Right.
Like my weekends, I at least want to have one day where I'm not doing anything, or I'm at least doing minimal work of whatever else, just so I can
like
veg and chill
or whatever,
and just like coast. So it's like I don't want you or whoever I'm with to be offended by this. Like it's just me. I mean,
there is no whoever you're with because we're getting married. So I just need just clarify.
I just need that breathing room. For that.
Right. And at the flip side of that is my preference is I do like to spend time with you. So that's where another thing we struggled with was figuring out a balance of like, because I'm the type of person, I'm totally like, I'll be all over my partner. Like I would love to spend a lot of time with that person.
Yeah.
And then you're the type of person who, again, you're opposite. You're like, well, I like to be alone. You're very much the quality time over quantity. And I am like a little bit of both. Like I like the quality of it. Yes. But I also like a lot of it.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't even need to be like amazing all the time. Like, so that's where we kind of had to find that balance.
The next point, which is 4, is they say have a safe word or phrase, and I don't know how much I agree with this. Like for example, when I feel like I'm exhausted or drained or whatever, or like I'm tired of being like having that on, like social whatever. I don't really know if I agree with having a safe word.
Why?
I don't feel like a safe word. It's more just instead of having a safe word, just communicate to your partner saying like, hey, I'm really drained. I just need, time for myself to recharge. And like, instead of just a safe word, just say what it is.
Yes, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
It's not. It depends on your relationship.
Basically, the idea behind a safe word in any context is that it is a neutral way to say something so that it's not going to cause hurt feelings or an argument or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not a bad thing because it's just kind of like, hey, you are communicating. Like you've already communicated ahead of time. Hey, if I say banana, it means I need space or whatever. Yeah. Like you are communicating using a safe word.
I'm not saying you're not, but I don't know. I'm a blunt person, so I like telling you exactly like this is how it is.
But again, maybe there's magic in not being so blunt all the time. Because yes, you want to communicate, but remember, everybody has emotions and feelings, so you still want to be kind and weary of that.
You can be blunt, but not be mean with what you say.
Right.
Literally, me saying I'm draining shouldn't be offensive to that person. And if it is, then we have a problem because I'm talking about myself.
Then you have to see who you're with. Because you have to say, and you know this, in all of our... all of our relationships, okay, friends, family, whoever, you have to act differently with different people. You have to say things differently with different people, different tones, different phrases.
I don't. If I say I'm draining to you, I'm going to tell my friend, yo, I don't want to hang out this weekend. I'm drained. I'm going to tell everyone the same thing.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what I'm saying. Basically,
of course.
That because when you put two people together, those two people are going to be different than the next two people. Like you have to have a different kind of way with every relationship to kind of keep the peace. Because again, you may be opposites with one person, but then maybe too similar with another person.
I get that.
Yeah.
But being an introvert, I'm going to tell you, instead of having a safe word that I may not even have with that next person, I'm just going to spell it out for you and everyone else that I am drained. I need to stay home. I can't go out. I need to recharge. If you don't understand that whole thing I just said to you and you need another word to like fluff it up, why am I talking to this person? Like, I'm not saying anything mean. I'm saying this is what I need. I just need to recharge. And I feel like the person should be respectful of that. Of course, if it gets extreme where you start saying something mean or whatever, like, of course. But if I'm just saying something if I'm telling you how I'm feeling and then what I need, just respect it. I don't know.
A few times we've been around that track, so it's not just going to happen like that.
What song? Oh, shut up. Shut up.
I spelled bananas before.
The next point on this is 5, which is don't be afraid of their silence, which is introvert silence. And I feel like this isn't too much of an issue for us because we do have those moments where it's just like it's quiet in the house and it's chilled, it's good.
Which is nice because I never really knew that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm cool with it. I don't think there needs to be constant filler talk and constant just talk. I don't think we need to hear our own voices 24/7 and like just have it continue. Like if there's nothing else of substance to say, and if we're tired, we just want to chill and be separate, or even if we're in the same room and we're doing our own thing, like it's cool to just
the greatest times I like having with you. Well, not there's a lot of great times, of course.
Oh.
But like I like when we're like in the living room and we're just like you're doing your own thing, I'm doing my own thing, and it's just it's quiet in the fact that we're not talking, but we can still stay in the same space and do our own
it's
thing.
Comfortable. It's not this awkward silence. And I've heard that before. Like I thought it was a saying or something along the lines like the best thing is when you can be silent with someone and it doesn't feel awkward. Like it's just comfortable. Yeah. It's a comfortable silence. Because, like when you're in a new relationship or you're with someone who you don't know how to feel about them, like sometimes silence can be weird and you're like, okay, are they like mad at me? Or like, do they think I'm gross? Like, is it, like it could be like that. But it's amazing when you're with someone that just, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, like that's one of the points that like I love when we're doing our own thing, but we're still able to like coexist in the same space.
Yeah,
is great.
Yeah.
Having that with your partner, whether it's introvert, extrovert, whatever you are, is amazing.
Yeah.
Now for number 6, they say highlight your introvert's partner's strengths.
Is this only about like introverts?
Well, yeah. That's what I told you at the beginning of the article.
Well, that's why I like to spin
how
it.
Introverts are like. Well, we're putting our own take, but it's introverts. Like how extroverts should like handle introverts. But highlight your
introvert's partner's strength.
Yeah,
I got you. So yeah, I was. Well, no, that was a weakness. Sorry.
But like for example, but they give an example saying if you admire your partner's ability to be in solitude without feeling lonely, point it out to them.
Yeah.
And then they go on to say similarly they may recognize how great you are at being around groups of people without getting depleted.
Yeah. Which that's where I feel like I'm in the middle because I do get depleted. It depends. Depends on the circumstances, like how was my day? Yeah. What's the group I'm with?
Yeah.
Like, do I really want to be there, or is it more obligatory? Like, I have circumstances.
It's funny that you mentioned that because you had me think about my mom for a moment because it's like I feel like my mom is like slightly more like with the social stuff than you. So it's like you'll take like I know when you're like at a certain point you'll like wrap it up and like. Maybe that's probably where I get it from. Yeah, because my mom was like the talker. Yeah, it's like she would stay there until like the family gathering was like done, and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to go home.
Right.
Like I'm not old enough to drive yet.
Right.
Like and as soon as I got my own car, like I left on my own time.
Do you mean like when we're at parties and I'm like kind of done, or like what are you talking about?
Yeah, like at parties, like we don't stay like a crazy long time. Like we're not staying till like when everyone else is like gone. We're leaving like,
but we're not the first to leave.
Exactly, like we're leaving in the middle, and I'm cool with that. Like I grew up in that where it's like my mom would always in family parties she would always like be the last person to leave or one of the last people to leave. I'm like, yo, try to go home. Right. What are you doing to me, lady? And it's like I like that because like that's great.
As far as the strength thing, it's like I've always admired how confident you are, like with yourself.
Yeah.
So. I don't know if that's an introvert thing or just in general, but I feel like, I mean, it could apply to introvert, I feel like, because you kind of just are within yourself.
See, the thing is, people take, like, when I tell people I'm introverted, people automatically assume that, like, I'm shy.
That you don't talk, period.
All that stuff. Like,
Which, I mean, you are.
I'm not shy.
To an extent.
I'm not shy. See, my thought of shy.
You don't talk to, like, my family and friends as much as you do me, though.
At the end of the day, I'm just not about small talk. Like, we went to go see the videographer, and like, it was a quick conversation, of course, but like, yo, that's someone I feel like I would have been able to have like a dope, like, not a small talk conversation, but not really, like, just focusing on a certain topic and
well,
just,
you had stuff
digging.
You guys related on.
Exactly, and that's some of the issues when I go to certain events, where it's like, I don't do well with small talk. When I go to family things, like, I don't see the value in that. You're not gonna remember what I said. Like, you're at the end of it.
You don't know that.
Okay, whatever. At the end of it, you're just gonna be like, he's a nice guy, or I like Shadell, or whatever your thought. And I don't need that. I don't need you to add that extra value on it. It's cool and all that stuff, but I don't need that.
But what else can they say if they don't really know much about you? You know what I'm saying?
But see, I'm different. So that's what's so tough, because I'm weird.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I don't care what anyone has to say about me. And it goes back to like being where introverts are like always had that thing of being shy, whatever. And it's like you say like I'm confident. I'm like, I just know myself.
Yeah.
Like I knew what I wanted. I knew, like, I just know what I want, and I know that, like, I don't care what anyone.
It's not an easy journey for most people.
It's not, but like, I'm also like, I'm sitting here like, I don't care what someone has to say, because yo, are you paying my bills? Are you giving me food to eat? Like, all these things. Like, I don't care what anyone has to say, as long as the main people around me are cool and good and everything. That's all that matters. Like, anyone that I meet, whether we go to an event that you're at or I bring you to an event that I'm going to, or whoever, like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to treat anyone mean or disrespectful. I'm not that person. I show love. I spread positivity, smiles, hugs, all that stuff. But I'm just cool. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
To get into the next one here is number 7, which is you may have to ask them questions more often than not.
Which makes sense, because again, you have to clarify what they mean by what they're saying or what they're doing.
See, in our relationship, what happens now is, since I already know that you may take something a certain way, I'm already used to the fact that I'm like, okay, let me further get into what I mean, so there's no miscommunication.
But that's important. Regardless of how I take it, it's important to be clear and concise.
Well, yeah, because I don't want to get into a further fight.
Remember the 3 C's, babe.
I don't want to get into another fight where I'm just like, you're having an issue of whatever I said, or whatever you think I said, even though it's not what I meant.
Sir, this goes both ways, so you need to take it down a notch.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
So, with introverts, I can't really speak for this in general, but yeah, you may have to sit there and poke. I've met some guys where it's like, yeah, they're introverts. They stay to themselves, so it's like you have to kind of poke and prod and ask for questions, and it's just like, come on, dog.
That's true.
I hate that. Like, I'm like, oh, I hate it. And I feel like I'm probably more on the extreme side of an extrovert, or not extrovert, of an introvert. Because like I've been around those guys where it's like they don't want to do much, they don't want to say too much, they stick to themselves, and I feel like I'm on like the higher part of that, where I'm kind of closer to the extrovert part. If you understand where I'm coming from, I don't know. On to this next one, which is one of our 3 C's, is compromise. Which you're going to have to do a lot if you are with an introvert and with an extrovert. You're going to do a lot of compromising.
Yeah, because again, it could be dates. It could be spending time together, period. Talking, like anything.
Yo. So it's funny. This is one of the things I mentioned, because this is one of our issues, because I have an issue, like, I think there's an issue with the party where it's like, I don't want to stay there too long, because I don't really feel like having, those small talks and all that stuff.
Yes, okay, this was a compromise. Yes, again, funny enough, it was a networking. It was the same networking, like, after hours kind of thing at someone's house. And he didn't want to be there as long as he was. And it caused an issue between us that night because I just didn't like the vibes I was getting and he was just being a certain way. And so we drove together that night, but it was an issue because basically what he was saying is like, if I'm able to drive by myself, I'll go for some of it, but then at least I know I have like a getaway if I need it.
Yeah.
And at first, like, I fought him on this and I didn't understand it because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, but we are seen as like an item, okay? We're like a package deal. So like people see us and if we come to an event together, it's like, okay, we came to the event together, we leave the event together. That was like my mindset. So it took me a while, but it's like now I understand because honestly, I get it. I could feel the same way, but even especially for the introvert side, for the purposes of this conversation, it's like, yeah, even if he doesn't utilize leaving, having getaway, yes, having the option of that getaway and that breather could be vital to someone like that. And especially, once again, it's around people who he's not super close with, who it's not like, so it just made it even worse because now it's not like his close family,
and
you know?
I'm sitting there on my phone. And it's just like, yeah. And I say that because they give an example saying, for example, take 2 cars, Uber or Lyft to social gatherings.
Look at that.
This will allow introverts to leave early if desired.
I was so against it.
Which is better than not going at all.
Right.
Look for win-wins. And it's just it's like
right. And we went over that a lot, that like we would always have the win-lose mentality or lose-lose. Yes, sir.
Don't tie a we to that. That was not me.
And the whole idea is you want a win-win mentality, okay, in a relationship.
Yeah, because I'm going for you. Like, it's not like I'm not going to go. Right. But it's like, at least give me the option to be like, yo, I want to leave an hour early before you leave.
Yeah, and I really was. Like, I fought him on that. Like, I just couldn't. Again, kind of like we talked about in the last episode, how things weren't clicking at that time. We were both on a page where we were, like, communicating what we were saying. It wasn't clicking. The light bulb was not going on for me. Like, it just didn't make sense. Finally, it just did. Like, I was like, yeah, I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it makes sense. It's interesting because, like, it's not like he was saying something that was so out of this world or didn't make sense.
Yeah,
like, it actually,
like, people pull up with 2
and it wasn't
cars.
like some excuse or whatever. It just is, again, win-win because you're going for me, but you're also having that option if you need it, and it keeps the peace. And it's one of those things, how our relationship works may not work for other people.
Man, I think
that
time when we went to, like, since we stayed later than like we normally stay at events.
Yeah, that was it too.
And like, I got bit up by mosquitoes, and I'm just
that was it too. It was a longer night. Like, I even felt that. Yeah.
So the last one is have couples time. They go on to say, make sure to make couples time. Dr. Dan says extroverts may need to do social things on their own, just as introverts may need alone time. But don't forget why you are together. Make time to give each other undivided attention.
See, it's very interesting because I think it's talking about extroverts, like it just said, about extroverts recharging on their own versus like, which I get because I'll like... Yeah, I'll do, I think, more extroverted things to recharge than you. But part of it for me, I feel like, is the act of doing things with you.
Well, it's and we have those
right.
times.
So like that's where I can find I'm extroverted too. It's not necessarily me going out with just my friend or going out with like, whoever or to an event or whatever, which, yeah, I could see how those recharge me. But again, they can also drain me. I'm very in the middle. But I actually look at it as our couples time is part of me being more extroverted, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm doing it with another person in a social setting or whatever. So like that's...
Yeah, and as much as I don't really care to do it, I know that it's a compromise, and it's like... you gotta do what you gotta it's just appeasing that person.
And you also, because you have told me you like doing this stuff.
It
together.
Depends on what it is. Depends on what it is. It's case by case, Like today, like we went out, did a couple things, and it was cool.
That way. I'll just be over here in the corner.
Telling you how it is, like. But yeah, we went out and did a couple things, and like had, I guess, what you would consider like quality time, stuff like that. But I told you, I'm like, we did all this today, and getting a couple things knocked out. But then I'm like, okay, like the next day I want to kind of have more time for myself.
Today
or
was
whatever.
a long day for both of us for multiple reasons. Yeah, because it was like we had like wedding planning, sort of going out, sort of chores. I had work on top of it, like at the ass crack of dawn. So like it was, we're both exhausted. Trust me.
Yeah, but it
was a long day.
I'm just saying where it's like we still had that like time out together and all that stuff, and it was cool, it was chill and all that.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of important things. I agree with this article. It is on bustle.com. Check it out if you are interested. I just wanted to kind of give our takes to this after having that relationship advice topic on the last episode, or the past episode there, because it's interesting how like we operate, and like of course we're always growing and changing and like adapting how things work for each other, depending on what our needs are at the time, and it's just interesting to look at and keep on moving forward.
Keep on swimming, keep on swimming.
Man.
No, just keep swimming.
On that note, I think it is time to wrap this.
To sleep. I'm tired.
This bad boy out. Oh, man. I hope everyone is going to have a great weekend.
Which is really weird to say as we're filming this on a Saturday.
So.
Thinking ahead.
I'm going to, man, I just plan on relaxing.
I mean, we're going to that event. Case in point.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to an event. And one of those days, like I'm just going to be chilling.
Again, see? Like, it's like a 4-hour event max. It's something different. We've never done it. So, like, it's more... We've talked about this in the past, how it's, like, more fun for him to do different things rather than the same thing over and over. So, like, it's going to be cool. Like, it's different. It's fun. It's romantic. It's all that good stuff. And it's not like it's, all day.
I'll be drained after it, though. Whoa, respect me. Put some respect on my name.
No, respect.
Respect.
No T.
Respect. RESPCK.
Pretty much.
So guys, we're going to catch you on the next episode of Paging the Simpsons. Once again, I am your lovely, gracious, humble host, the greater half of Paging the Simpsons, Shadell.
Oh my gosh.
If you are listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff, please subscribe, rate, review if you're on iTunes. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. You know what it is. Links are all in the description below. I am joined here once again by my lovely fiance, the lesser greater half of Paging the Simpsons.
I swear, one of these days you're gonna stop saying it.
What
I
just do it because you get bothered.
Well, then I'm gonna stop getting bothered so you can stop saying it.
Okay, then you better.
All right, I am unbothered Lauren.
That's funny. Okay, and we'll check you guys out on next week Tuesday. All right.
Bye.
Peace.